Are you able to see my screen? Hello? Are you able to see my screen? Right? Hmm. Hmm, 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 hmm. So today, masterclass day is 4, and in the first class we learn how to create a form and validate. Second class we learn how to fetch list of the contact and display in the Latin data table. Once click on the button, display the model pop-up and selected row display inside the model pop-up. In the third day, we learn how to create a form and how to insert contact record. And once record created in Salesforce, then display a toast message. Today we learn some difference. In last 3 days, we created only one component, but today difference. Now let me open the scenario. This is my scenario. So today we will cover. We'll create two components and we pass from child component to parent component. So sometime you giving the interview panel asking to you how to pass data from child component to parent component. What is your approach? So this question is mainly common if you giving the interview. So it is a very important part. Uh, for last 3 days, I working only one component. Today I will create two component. First component that is a child component, and first component will be parent component. So this is a child component. In the child component, I will create four type of input field, and this component calling into the parent component. So input fields and button, these are part of the child component, and this component calling into the parent component. Parent component I will display by default it is a table of head. This is a parent component. By default it is a table of head, but whenever click on the button, we'll get the input field value. All field value will display into the parent component. So we will be use custom event and dispense event to pass the data from child component to parent component LWC. So this is the scenario for the day. Any question? Are you got my scenario? Repeat the scenario. You are Ahmad, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. Okay, okay. Now let me repeat once again. Give me 2 minutes. Today's scenario is we will create two component, child component and parent component. And child component will call into the parent component. In the parent component, will display a table by default, but value not populated. But in the child component, we will create a four type of input field and a button. And this component actually call into the parent components. So by default it will blanks because it is a part of the parent components. Value will populate whenever we click on the button. We get all of the field value and will be passed into parent component and populate the same value that is passing from child to parents. So here we created two component actually. This is a parent component, this is a child component. Child component calling into the parent component and passing the method. How to pass data from child component to parent component? We will use custom event and dispatch event. So through the custom event and dispatch event, we will pass the data from child component to parent component. This is a scenario for the day. Got it? Now, so now let me go Visual Studio Code. This is a very important question. If you're giving the any kind of interview in Salesforce development, they will ask first question will ask about the admin part. The second question will ask about the triggers. The third question will ask about the LWC. If asking the question about the LWC, this question mandatory. How to pass data from child component to parent component? It is a common question for the LWC. So today class is very important. So today we'll create a two component. So now let me first create a parent component. Who want to join? Let me check. one Vivek one. Hello Vivek, please mute your mic. Hmm. Thank you. So today's scenario is, let me explain. We will create two component and we will pass the data from child component to parent component through the custom event and dispatch event. This is a scenario. Okay. Okay. So now let me create a component. Control Shift P. Create a lightning wave component. I write the name of the component. Here I add all component naming from training because I uh, identify that component created for the training purpose. So training parent LWC, the name of the component. Training parent component. Training parent LWC. Okay. And meta XML file. And second component I will create training child LWC. Okay. Now close this. This is a parent JavaScript, meta XML required for parent, child, child JavaScript not required for meta XML for the child because we will call child component to the parent component. So first of all, not required here meta apex class. So no, first let me create a parent component because parent component will call. So first we will define the targets. True, target. Lightning app page, record page, and home page. So basically we will display the page on this type of the page, like record page, home page, and home page, record app page, home page, and record page. Now go to the component, lightning card, then component LWC, div class SLDS p around medium. So here I will use table class SLDS table table SLDS table call border URDIT, then table of head TR table of row, inside table of th, table of head. Hmm. Let's suppose name, email, phone, city, and we get another one row, tr, th. Let's suppose pass the data, dummy data. Yeah, thank you. Who is this? आपने कौन अभी कौन बताया आपने? क्या नाम है आपका? Rachana. Yeah, good observation. Because this is a table of head and this is a table of body. So this is a uh, currently I am working on the parent component. So this is a table of head. By default, I am passing the dummy data. Now let me save and deploy to code. Component deploy successfully. Now let me call so that we can check the preview. Let me close this. So my component name is training parent LWC. Training parent of this one. Change the shape. Now go back. Let me refresh. Why not display? Delete cousin. What problem? Master app. This is my component visual. So I created parent component. In the parent component by default, I created a table and data passing dummy. Now let me work on child component. Child component will call into the parent component. So in the child component, similar div class no title child com here passing the title receiving data from child because this component visual in the because this component visual into the inside the parent component. so that we can identify this data coming from the child. Okay, so in the child component we create a input field and button. Class SLDS grid SLDS right D class SLDS size 6 of 12 lightning input label name equal to name, and we will pass the action function on change equal to handle change. So this function I am passing because we will get the current value of the input field. Now copy paste name email. Yeah. Phone and city. So based on the name is my target. So based on the name, I will get the value. So I am putting function same for all of the input field. After wrap, create another one div class text align center. I will put a button, lightning button, label, submit, variant, brand, and I put a action on clicks. Once click on the button, we pass the data from child to parent. So submit action. Now save. Now let me review. Name, email, phone, city, function will same. Submit. Okay. Okay. Now let me save and deploy to code. Code deploy successfully. Now let me call this component on parent so that we can check the preview, because in the child component metaxmon file I'm not passing the lightning app and homepage. So I'm calling this component. So how to call child component to parent component, what is the process, understand this. So first of all, if you calling the child component to the parent component, uh, process are like this. First of all, rename rename the file, rename, copy, this is a child component, copy the name of the child component so that don't mistake, spelling mistake. And this is a table. I want to display child component below the parent component. So parent component I created a table, and child component I want to display below the parent component. So first I will use br tag below the parent component. Here I will call. So first of all, this is a child component. Just I copy. So process is first of all put C, then dash, then small letter don't touch. This is a C. It is a capital child. The child C is a capital. So convert capital to a small letter. That's it. And here also check L is a capital. So before L we'll choose dash and we will change capital to a small letter. This is a process to calling child component into the parent component. Then type close, it will automatically close. So now I call child component into the parent component. Now let me save and deploy to code. Now check the preview. Deploy successfully. Now let me refresh. Now my child component will visible below the table. This is a parent component because I calling the child component to the parent component. Now let me refresh. Yes, my component visual, but structure not good. Need some formation. Formatting not good. So now let me give a space. Let me copy this one. Both working same. Understand? SLDS P that means padding. Around मतलब कि इसके चारों ओर की स्पेस. So it will give a space around the input fields. So it will also work. Now let me okay. Now let me save. Deploy successfully right now. Now let me refresh. Yeah, it will work. Okay. If you want to give a small space, then you can use a small. Then deploy the code. It will little bit less the space. Now let me refresh. So now my component display inside the parent component. Now I would like to pass the data. So whenever we yes, correct, because in the input field I pass the function. So now I created a any kind of the input field I passing the function apply. So that is error. It's good, good, because I not created a function. This function, giving error. So now I will create this function, the child component handle change, so that we can get the current value. So handle change event. So first of all, we need to store the current input field value. So we will use, yeah, remember, we are passing data one component to another one component. That means we need to declare as a decorator variable that is a global at the rate API. It is a mandatory. If you passing the data from child to parent, you must declare at that API. And if you declare at the API, first you need also add here. Otherwise, it will display error. So at that API, there are four fields. So now name, because API it is a global variable. Track is a private. API name, email, phone, and city. There are four fields: name, email, phone, and city. And here use condition if this one event dot target name double equal to pass the name. So first of all, I will get the value name. Then we'll store the current value. This dot name equal to event dot target dot value. So first it will check if target name equal to name. Then we'll store the value. Store the value, that means current value. This input with value. Current value will store inside this variable. Similarly, else if use this one email, then copy, and this time I am storing the value for email input field. Rest of things are same. Now let me copy this one for this one phone, and this one phone. Both are same. Now let me copy for the last one. Last one is city. City. So one by one I get the value and I store inside the API variable. Now there is another one function in the child component, that is a submit action. Now let me create a submit action after this function. This function close here. Submit action. So now I want to pass data through dispatch event, custom event and dispatch. So inside the submit action, we will use a custom event and dispatch event. So how to pass data? First of all, we get the value. So how to get the value? Inside the function, we use variable, constant variable. Let me suppose write the name of the variable data equal to I'm storing data as a object because there are multiple variables. Create a object, create a variable that is a object type, and object always exists key and value. Name dot, here will pass this variable, this dot name. Copy, email, phone, and city. So I created a constant variable that is a object type and passing the value here one by one. Now I will create a custom event and dispatch event. So now create a constant variable. Yes, because it is a object. Thank you. Thank you so much. Right, guys. Because it is a object, and don't forget to remove from last one. Okay. So first I created a object and passed the data. Now I created a custom event and dispatch event. So constant variable. And now let me name of the event is let anything you can declare custom data and new custom event and custom event use a bracket as a object and here no custom event pass a single quote and add the name of the event. Let me send data comma then create object. But remember, always keep mind, always remember if you passing the event name, all letters should be small, not put any letter capital. It is a mandatory. If you this is the name of the event. So send event here passing a send data because here I am sending the data from child to parent. Then create the object and here this is a object type. So we'll use it detail and detail here I'm passing the data that is receiving from input field. These are so these all value stored in this constant variable. So only pass the data and detail is a mandatory because it is a predefined of the Salesforce. If you're using custom events details, it is a mandatory. If you're using a S, it will don't work. Keep in mind, it is a predefined property of the custom event. After that, uh, okay. Now this dot dispatch event and here we'll pass this the variable. So this is a child component JavaScript custom event. This is a data. Okay, good. Now let me save and deploy to code. Yeah, my component deploy successfully. Now go parent component and here in the child component pass event. Event this is a custom event and custom event this is a event name. Send data. Copy the send data. Go to parent and here if you calling the event into the parent component there is a prefix on then pass the event name equal to create function name of the method like handle data anything you can pass data this is my method you can anything you can put in name. So now I'm putting in name handle data. Important is this one. It is a mandatory on and then name of the events. My event name is send data. So this name I am passing here. This is a method. So now I will work on the method. So this is a method of the parent component. This is a parent component. Here I will create a function. And we will display one by one. So first we will receive the data. To what I receiving data? I receiving data these receiving data from child component. So here I will create a local variable like name, email, phone, city, and here we create a constant variable receive data, let's suppose, and receive data like event dot what I receiving that means this is a event name object, this is a detail stored data, this is a key, event dot this one. Now name this dot name equal to one by one I will get all of the value dot name coming from what I coming name, email, phone, and city. Name, email, phone, city. एक मिनट constant variable receive data event dot detail detail, ठीक है, क्या बोल रहे हैं आप? हाँ हाँ हाँ, ईमेल ना, एक मिनट, एक्चुअली क्या है ना, ईमेल ऐसा है, दिस ईमेल पुटिंग हियर, सही पकड़े आप, ईमेल और ई एम ए स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक एक्चुअली, ई एम ए आई है, हाँ ठीक है, स्ट्रक्चर समझ रहे हैं ना, कैसे कैसे डेटा पास हो रही है. सो event dot detail coming from here. So first I declare a variable and get all of the data that is receiving from the child component. So this variable receive all data, and here I am passing one by one inside this local variable, and this local variable, because this variable store the receiving data, name receiving the name, email receiving the name, email. So this is a variable that is receiving from the data from child component. Now this variable I pass here. This is a dynamically data. Name, email, phone, and city. Okay. So now save and let me deploy to code. Deploy successfully. Now go to page. Now this data will replace dynamically. This data by default blanks, but whenever submit the button, this input field value will automatically refresh the page actually. Yes. So now this is a parent component. By default, parent component blank table. Data will populate whenever button click. So when click on the button, the input field value will get and pass data into the parent component, and the parent component will display. So now let's check. Let's check Vijay support at the rate W3Web.net. It will number and city. Okay. Now click the button. That magic will happen. Yes. This is a child component. Button also child component, but it is a parent component. So data I am passing the from child component to parent component to the dispatch event and custom event. It's working very good. Now let me open. Let's suppose you're working another one, any dummy data, you can see one populated. So now let me explain once again so that you can understand better. Uh, I created two component, child parent component and child component. By default, in the parent component, I created table. This is a dummy data populated. Uh, in the child component, I created a four type of input field. Each and every input field, I passing the function, and at the bottom, I created a button. So based on the name target, I'm getting the current value of input field and storing the that API variable. One by one, I'm getting the target through the handle change and store the value inside the API. This is a similarly all of the input fields one by one are getting the value and store the data. In the submit button, this API value store the data passing as a constant variable. This is a data. You can mention anything. I think because this is a data you can declare as per your. But here I am passing data as a name and name, email, phone, city because it is a object data type. So this is a key and this is a value. And here the main things. This is a constant custom events. So if you creating a custom event, this is a instance. So first you need to create an instance of the custom event. This is the name of the event. Keep in mind always all letters should be a small, not capital. Right? Otherwise it will not work. Now let me suppose S capital. Let me check. I, I pass the S capital and in the parent component here I am passing S capital. Okay. Display error. Now let me deploy to code now. Deploy successfully. Now let me deploy parent component. Error because custom event name always put a small letter. It is a standard property of the LWC. And before calling the event name, use prefix on. It is a mandatory. Now let me deploy code. And if you calling the child component to the parent component starting from C and all of the capital letter change capital to a small letter and in the middle use dash and this is a event name in the parent component this is a local variable created that is only for purpose for to populate into the component. So one by one I storing the value. First I declare a constant variable and event dot detail coming from the child component here. This is a key. So this is key I using here and one by one I passing the data inside the local variable and local variable this is a name email phone. This variable I am calling into the table. So this is a receiving data. ट्रैक भी करेंगे तो चलेगा लेकिन ट्रैक ट्रैक एक्चुअली क्या करता है ना कि वो लोकल वेरिएबल हम इसलिए यूज़ करते हैं कि छोटी-मोटी अगर कुछ एक अभी मेरे पास क्या आ रहा है, छोटी-सी वैल्यू आ रही है इनपुट का। कुछ ऑब्जेक्ट जैसा डेटा पास नहीं कर रहे हैं, कुछ एरे जैसा डेटा पास नहीं कर रहे हैं, कहीं से कुछ हम क्वेरी करके डेटा नहीं ला रहे हैं ताकि उसमें स्टोर कर सकें। तो ट्रैक होता है कि मतलब कि कॉम्प्लेक्स डेटा को स्टोर करने के लिए होता है। कोई ऑब्जेक्ट से आ रही डेटा, कोई एरे टाइप डेटा आ रहा है, कोई लंबी डेटा आ रहा है, तो ट्रैक होता है। अगर ट्रैक भी उसका करेंगे तो चल जाएगा, ऐसा नहीं है। तो किसी को कुछ क्वेश्चन है इस, कुछ पूछ सकते हैं? इस वाले सिनेरियो में किसी को कुछ क्वेश्चन है? थैंक यू। तो आज का क्लास कैसा रहा दोस्तों? थैंक यू। अच्छा रहा ना? समझ में आया कुछ? कैसे चलता है कस्टम इवेंट, डिस्पैच इवेंट? तो मनु आप कैमरा ओपन कीजिए, आप कैमरा ओपन कीजिए आप। उनका कैमरा चलता नहीं है। ठीक हो? आज के सिनेरियो में कुछ दिक्कत तो नहीं है ना? अगर कुछ आउट ऑफ बॉक्स सिनेरियो देखिए मैंने एक वो रखा हुआ है। आज का सिनेरियो में जो मैंने बताया है, अगर उसमें कुछ भी कन्फ्यूजन है तो मेरे से बेझिझक पूछ सकते हैं। लेकिन अगर आउट ऑफ बॉक्स कुछ सिनेरियो आपके पास है तो मैंने इसके लिए ना 7:30 बजे का टाइम दे रखा है सभी को। कोई ज्वाइन नहीं करते हैं, कभी कभी कोई ज्वाइन करते हैं तो उनका मैं सोल्यूशन देता हूँ। तो मैं चाहता हूँ कि हाँ,